I'm running for state representative in our district here, and as this race continues, we suspect that there's going to be a lot of discussion about the corporate franchise. I was wondering if you could help to educate us about what the corporate franchise is. What does that term even mean?
Well, when a company is organized, under the laws of particular states, typically the states in which it does business. In other words, it's governed by the laws of that state. Delaware, though, its corporate laws were considered very attractive to companies around the country and our courts. So a lot of companies chose to incorporate in Delaware and be subject to our laws and our courts. Now, to do that costs something. You have to support our laws and our courts, and so for a company incorporated here, they pay what is known as a franchise tax, and a very important revenue source to us.
How much money does the franchise bring to Delaware?
Directly, the tax probably brings maybe 27, 28. If you add to it the...
You mean 28%?
Of the budget, yes.
Okay.
It's huge. If you add to it, it's cheap, they call it, which is abandoned property, corporate taxes on the businesses in this area that deal with it, the law firms, the corporation services companies, and the personal income tax, people who work at those places, I'll bet in the end it's about 60-some-odd%. It's a good chunk of our budget, and without it, we would be broke.
So at minimum, the franchise brings in between $2 to $3 billion, and you suspect that it's even more than that?
I would suspect it's even more than that. Franchise isn't just important to us for tax revenues, it's critical to us as a state. That's why it's so necessary to protect it. But it's also important globally to the strength of the American economy and investment in the United States, because most companies were Delaware companies.
So the franchise is something that any Delawarean politician would need to protect?
Absolutely. I mean, that's critical to the survival of the state, yes.
What do you think are good strategies to protect the franchise in Delaware?
I've always thought that the key is to be, quote, above it all, above politics, above catering to one particular group or another. The key, I think, to any system of regulation, judicial regulation, is being above reproach, above questioning of your integrity, of your balance, of your intelligence, and your neutrality. And that, to me, has always been secret. A, corporate law designed by a neutral committee of lawyers in the state who understand it. It's complicated. B, administered by a judiciary that's intelligent, fair, balanced, and above the fray. So that even if you lose a case, you at least feel that you had a fair shot.
Are there any particularly bad strategies to preserve and promote the franchise?
Yes. Swinging the franchise into one direction or another alienates one or another group of people. In business, the key is to have everyone like you. And the key in regulation is to have everyone think you're fair. They may not like what you've done, but they think you're fair and intelligent at it. It gives confidence to investors that their money is safe, and it gives confidence to management that they can operate without significant interference, as long as they operate fairly.
So if I'm hearing you right, the way that the franchise has grown is because we rest on an excellent judiciary that is incredibly well-trained and historically well-positioned to be handling cases that corporations bring.
Precisely, and well-respected throughout the financial world. That's the key, balance and respected.
And anything that would move the needle in one direction or the other away from that fairness, away from that neutrality, would put the franchise in peril.
It would seriously put it in peril because you would lose support from one group or another. Ultimately, it would lead to federalization.